Hello everyone, welcome to Raptor Rising Gaming. Today we are flying DCS F-16 in the Liberation campaign. It's our day one strike. We've been tasked with deed elimination of enemy air defenses. Our target today is an SA-10 battery. It is part of an IADS integrated air defense system. There's another SA-10 near it. They have overlapping threat circles, so it could be a little challenging. Luckily, we have a pretty good plan to get through it. So we're getting through our takeoff checklist now and making sure that the jet is good to go. You can see my wingman off in the other hangar. We're just clearing everything, making sure that all systems are functional. We'll continue doing that. You really have to appreciate the Syrian map. It is glorious. It's got gradients. It has drop-offs. It's different. The textures are all so unique. You can really feel alive in this map. It's just so special. So thank you to ED and Ugra Media for the amazing job you guys did. This was easily one of the best purchases I've made for DCS in terms of immersion. So we're finishing our taxi roll here, getting close to the runway, and we'll climb out, get over to the target area. We've got a couple of tactics we're going to use. It's just my wingman and me. We don't have an escort flight. There's not a lot of resources on the enemy's end. I didn't want it to go too crazy, but you know, I thought we'd just have some fun playing a good liberation campaign with IADS and all the bells and whistles. So I'm just getting closer to that runway. So my loadout's a little unique. I've got a centerline fuel tank. We're definitely running an ugly loadout. Centerline fuel tank, a 370 gallon wing tank. I'm rocking 2 harms and 3 CBU-97s. The plan is we'll get the SA-10 distracted with the incoming harm missiles, I'll have my wingman support because he has 2 harm missiles as well. So my logic is, if we can shoot the 4 harms at them, we can then effectively get low and fast and finish the SAM site off with the CV-97s. Here we go in our takeoff roll. You can definitely see she's really heavy. A lot of gas, a lot of munitions. But the Viper definitely accelerates really well with that regardless. Now we're airborne. We'll begin our climb out. Again, just look at the beauty of the city, the detail of the different terrain features. It just blows me away. I'm gonna start setting up my harms for the attack here. So I notice later on that using the new function of pause ruck, position range unknown, limits your launch to less than 40 miles until it shows in range. And granted, yeah, the harms aren't lasting as efficiently as they would be in modes that are coming out later on. I actually found that launching them in HAS is a little better for the tactic I'm using. So here we're getting deep into the thick of it. I've got the SA-10 SAM locked. You could see on my right MFD, I'm approaching the second threat ring from the other SA-10 site, but I'm nice and high. I'm trying to maintain my speed, try to keep it up, and once I get close enough, I'll launch both of these missiles at the SA-10 battery and defend, because I know I'm going to get launched on by them. That random cruise missile was launched by a B-52, targeting a southern SA-10 site. I'm trying to do a coordinated attack on all of the high-end missile batteries. You know, mission 1, try to get them knocked out as best I can so that our allies aren't as affected later on. And we can focus on things like air superiority and ground attack. I'm now definitely within both missiles' threat rings. And there's our first launch warning, and we have an active SA-10 heading our way. So I'll shoot one off. Magnum. Magnum. Now begin defending pretty aggressively. Plan is dump the nose, try to get the missile perpendicular, try to beam it, notch it here, and we're just gonna rush straight to the ground. And as I gain tons of airspeed, I'm gonna use that to really make this missile work really hard to get to me. Ground's getting a lot closer, but this is what we want. The missiles will be distracted, or the battery will be distracted by the 2 missiles that I've launched at it, and all I'm doing is gaining airspeed and getting ready to come for it. So we've successfully defeated the first volley of missiles. And now we're going to turn back in hot toward the SAM site. We've got quite a ways to cover, but luckily you could see the terrain here is actually really aiding in the masking to the point where this should actually be a pretty easy run to get to the target. I've got some ground to cover, but I don't think it'll be that hard to close the gap. I like checking the progress of other flights, missiles, and just seeing what's going on. Like watching an external view getting the explosions. When they get close, it's pretty entertaining. I feel when we eventually get the harm pod, things are going to get a lot easier for defending or attacking SAM sites, and it should be a lot easier. We'll also have the JSOWs, so that'll be really awesome. A couple instances here I fast travel just to get a little bit closer, a little bit quicker. Like I said, I feel like closing the gap here, it's not gonna be that difficult. You can see them launching missiles at me, and I immediately mask and pop back up, and they're basically just wasted missiles at this point. They'll launch, I get nice and low, break radar contact, and that missile goes stupid. They're just hopelessly watching me get closer and closer when I pop up as a blip on their screens. I'm sure it's got to be pretty terrifying. A little more open here, but still not that much of a concern. You can see I've really started to close that gap. Notice how low I am to the ground, just really hugging the deck. The SA-10 can detect targets very low, so it's vital that you stay as low to the ground as possible. It's nice to have some trees help break up that radar contact as well, but if an SA-10 was to launch at me right now, I'd definitely be in big trouble. So we're 6 miles out from the target. They've launched again. Just hug the deck. You can see it exploded right off my nose. Alright. We're close enough to begin our run. The first pass will be a little low. My main priority is to take out the launchers, or the radars, so that the launchers are useless. CBU away. Off. You can see the despair that my CBU-97s have caused on that weapon site. One missile tried to get a shot off, but self-detonated because it lost track. You can see the AA desperately trying to defend. CBU away. And now that I know all of those radars are effectively toast, It can pop up. I have to be mindful. There's still the other SA-10 that can launch at me, but I'm not terribly concerned about it at this point. The main threat below me is taken out. This will help me be a little bit more accurate with my last CBE release. I'm turning in for my last attack. Got a good angle. CBE released. What a good looking jet. Pulling hard away from the target. It's my wingman, just checking his status, making sure he's still up. I'm getting back low, and I'm going to egress. At this point, I've done all the damage I can. You really see the last of those CBE 97s taking out basically everything. What an amazing weapon the CBE 97 is. Alright, so we basically got out of Dodge, and here we are back at back in Turkey, getting closer to Incirlik, getting ready to bring the jet down. Got gear down, lining up with the runway. Getting my AOA set up. I want to keep the flight path marker lined up with the runway threshold and the 2.5 degree negative basically in line with the end of the runway threshold as well. Now, Incirlik, I found it's kind of an interesting airbase to land at because of the gradient. As it gets toward the middle of the runway, it really slopes down, so if you don't flare correctly, you could really float a lot further along than you'd want to. So you've really got to be proficient and know what you're trying to pull off. You can see it as we get closer, how sloped it is. It's impressive. All right, we're gonna start our flare. Just like you see, I was talking about, we really floated a lot more, and that's okay. We landed in an acceptable region, and I had to pull the nose up a little bit more because of the slope, but alright, we're wheels down. Successful landing. Now we'll pull off the runway. Everything configured for taxi. Alright, so after the end of the mission, I went and checked on the status of the SAM site codenamed Weasel, I believe. Weasel's dead. We between 4 harm. Well, I think my wingman only got 1 off, but 3 harms and 3 CBU-97s. A very valuable and high priority target is now nothing. So we definitely got what we needed to get done accomplished, and the ground is now a little bit safer. The next mission will probably follow a similar style. There's that other SA-10 battery I want to contend with, but that's pretty much going to be that. And as we get a little bit more leeway, we'll get a little bit more aggressive. Thanks for watching, everyone. Raptor Rising Gaming. Don't forget to like and subscribe.